I'm in love! I'm in love! Woohoo! Yippee! Ah! Xenu? I do my own stuff! Welcome to the Cruising Altitude Podcast, a podcast dedicated entirely to the filmography of Tom Cruise. I'm your host, Blake, but you may also know me as Smokey's Videos, and this here is my co-host, Saul.
Hello.
Saul, do you want to explain what happened to the now famous missing episode of the Cruising Altitude Podcast?
The real version or the extravagant version?
Yes.
So, when we finished recording, an agent from the Church of not Scientology,
Or
just
atheotology,
burst into Blake's room and just deleted his recording from his side.
Yep, I tried to stop them, but they only deleted my audio. So now we have about an hour and a half of only Saul's voice talking about Tom Cruise's interview with the vampire. But, quick review of that movie. We both love it. I can't remember what place on the list we gave it. Let me see. It was pretty... I think it was to the top.
We put it up pretty high up
number
there.
3.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, so it is now number 3 on the list.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's a very homoerotic film that we loved dearly.
Which is definitely not the reason that I placed it so high, but it was just a welcome addition.
I placed it at number 3 because of that scene where Brad Pitt sucks on Tom Cruise's wrist.
Do you think if that movie had been made like with I mean, the other cast doesn't matter to me, but if Tom Cruise had done this like in these years, and since people now are more comfortable with scenes like that in film, you think he would have
gone further?
Yeah, if he would have willingly done this scene, like.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think so.
Like, would his commitment to like the art of acting?
Wait, hey, would he have done his own stunts? Is what you're asking?
Exactly.
I don't know. Maybe Brad Pitt would have, but I don't know about Tom Cruise. I feel like because everybody says that he's secretly gay, he might not have, or maybe he would have. To prove them wrong? I don't know.
Like, oh, I know what you guys are gonna say, but I did not enjoy that, so haha.
Yeah, it's a movie about a nice slave owner who becomes a vampire.
Nice.
And that's all the more we have to say about that. I'll probably upload it as a Patreon exclusive if you want to do that. You can just hear Saul talking about the movie. Here at the Cruising Altitude Podcast, I also forgot to mention that this month we're talking about Mission Impossible from 1996. Here at the podcast, we start the show off with a quick little bit of banter, and then we move right in to 4 fun facts about Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise 4 fun facts. Each month, Saul tries to guess which one of these facts I made up and which ones are real. Are you ready, Saul?
Yep.
Okay. Some of Tom Cruise's workout activities involve sea kayaking, caving, which I assume is similar to spelunking. I don't know if there's a difference.
Oh, like where you jump in caves?
Yeah, like you go... It's like rock climbing, but in reverse. Fencing, treadmill, weights, rock climbing, hiking, and jogging. Or fun fact number 2, Tom Cruise has been nominated for an Oscar 3 times, but has yet to win one. Fun fact number 3, Tom Cruise took a 4-week course in sleight of hand to prepare for the scene which Ethan performs a magic trick using computer discs.
I like that scene, actually.
Pretty good. Surprisingly good. Fun fact number 4. While filming the famous scene where Tom Cruise drops from the ceiling and hovers inches above the ground, Cruise's head kept hitting the floor until he got the idea to put coins in his shoes for balance.
Wait, could you repeat that one?
Of course I can. While filming the famous scene where Tom Cruise drops from the ceiling and hovers inches above the ground, Tom Cruise's head kept hitting the floor until he got the idea to put coins in his shoes for balance. I guess some sort of counterbalance to his head. So, which one of these facts is not true?
I want the coin one to be true so bad. I want that one to be true, so I'm going to say that the fake one is the second one. That he's never won an Oscar.
Saul? That is incorrect.
Fuck.
The fake fact was about him taking a 4-week course to learn magic.
Oh. That's something I believed. It just sounds like you would do that.
I'm glad I'm a good liar.
So,
God, we need to discover time travel so we can both go back to the set the day that he put coins in his shoes. Just, I don't even know what to say about that.
I'm happy to take that L, to be honest.
Just because you know it's true.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some facts about the film Mission Impossible, if you'd like. Mm-hmm. Or we can talk about Tom Cruise putting coins in his shoes for another hour.
It's okay. We can move on.
This is the little title or the story synopsis from IMDb. An American agent under false suspicion of disloyalty must discover and expose the real spy without the help of his organization.
Yeah, I mean, pretty on the nose.
That's exactly what happens. I can't wait to get to the other Mission Impossible films because, from my understanding, it's basically the same story each time.
Really?
I think so. I think it's always like, Ethan Hunt, you've been framed, or you are disavowed from the agency, or you quit, or something, but we need you to help us. But nobody can know you're helping us, or either it's something like that where he has to form his own team and they have to do it all on their own. But I think it's going to be that every single time, so get ready. Also, there's at least 3 or 4 more times where they do the Mission Impossible dangling from a wire in a room scene.
Was this the first instance of that? Like a
yes,
espionage movie?
Yeah, this is where the
trend started? Oh, okay. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Would you like to guess the budget of this film? Or do you want me to just tell you and you can guess what it made back in box office returns?
I'll guess both.
Okay.
All right.
Oh boy. Okay, calm down, Saul.
Budget.
You said you think it's a lot, so...
Yeah, it seems like a lot. Because that kind of CG back then, I feel like that would have cost some money. So, I'll say...
This was, what, a year after Jurassic Park?
Yeah. Fuck, but then, like, I don't know what a normal budget is, so...
Don't worry, I won't make you adjust for inflation.
Alright, so I'll say... 120 million as the budget, and it made 300.
Ooh, you are actually pretty close with your first guess.
Oh.
And with your second guess, but more so the first one. The budget was $80 million.
Dang.
And it made $457.7 million back.
Holy shit.
Yeah. This is the third highest grossing movie of 1996. The first one was Independence Day, and the second was Twister for some reason. I don't understand why people love that movie for so much. It's the villain is a tornado.
Wait, is it like those like Sharknado and the Tire movie?
No, it's like, I think it's supposed to be a drama, like sort of end of the world sort of movie, but it's just about a twister going through wherever they live and people trying to like outrun it.
Like
It's like you're watching an episode of Storm Chasers, but it takes over an hour to end and it's in reverse.
what was that one movie? The Happening or something like that?
What is that movie?
Like
I
where
recognize the title.
people like would be just like would like suddenly commit suicide, and they were trying to get away from that.
Oh.
Like somehow
No.
they knew that was a thing.
No, it's just a giant tornado.
That's so dumb.
Mission Impossible was directed by Brian De Palma, starring Jon Voight, Emmanuel Bayart, John Reno, Ving Rhames, and Tom Cruise. Here's some facts about Mission Impossible. It's the last motion picture from a major studio to get released for home video on Betamax video cassette.
So after that, just the thing went away.
Weirdly enough, it's also the only movie to get released on Betamax video cassette. According to Martin Landau, in an earlier treatment for the script, the original plan was to bring back the entire original cast from the television series, just to kill them all off in the first act. Were you aware that Mission Impossible was a TV show?
No, that's what I was about to say. Like, I did not know this was a TV show before. So
Yeah, it was a TV show in the late 60s, and then I think it got like a sort of a soft reboot / continuation in like the 80s, I want to say. But this also takes place in the same universe as that show, because one of the main characters is John Phelps, who is played by Jon Voight in this film.
So they kind of did do that then.
Yeah, so I assume the original plan would have been probably Ethan Hunt and a bunch of old people on a spy team, and then they all get killed instead of his other team that happens in this movie. The trick with the disappearing / reappearing CD that Ethan Hunt does to fool Franz Krieger is not a camera trick or any other visual effect, but a genuine sleight of hand trick.
Oh.
So yeah, that he might have taken a 4-week course in sleight of hand. We'll never know. But that is actually Tom Cruise, as always, doing his own stunts.
Pretty impressive, not gonna lie.
The filmmakers delivered this film on time and under budget, with Tom Cruise doing most of his own stunts. Do you think this has got to be the film that like kicked off his like, I want to do my stunts all the time? Because he does a lot of pretty cool stuff in this movie.
Yeah, I could see that, because the other movies he's done aren't as like action packed. Like, if anything, they're more like drama.
Yeah. I don't know. The most recent one I can think of was from Interview with the Vampire, where they just fly in the air real quick and then come back down.
The effects compared to that.
The producers cast Ving Rhames as Luther because they felt he was the opposite of what a hacker normally looks like.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, this is a weird fact, but I thought was kind of interesting. Reza Badiyi, Badiyyi, the person responsible for directing more episodes of the original Mission Impossible television series than anyone else, was asked by the head of Paramount Pictures to be present on set for consulting and advising. Director Brian De Palma approached him and told him how much he had enjoyed the original series. He also added that the movie would be nothing like the television show, and that his presence on the set would only result in making both of them uncomfortable. Reza thanked him for his honesty and left the set, never to return.
What a dick. He's like, it's cool that you're here and all, but you're kind of fucking useless, so,
I respect what you did, but I'm undoing everything, so why don't you just go home?
Do you think he still holds a grudge to this day?
Yes. I'll tell you who really does hold a grudge. Greg Morris, who portrayed the character Barney Collier on the original show. When Greg Morris saw the movie during the premiere, he did not finish it and left the theater midway through the film. He called it an abomination. For the scenes atop a speeding train, unfortunately, Saul, I'm sorry to say this, but they used a skydiving simulator, which was the only one in Europe at the time, to distort Tom Cruise's face. He wasn't actually on top of a speeding train.
Well, I was hoping that was not the case, but...
I understand if you want to end it all right now. Despite being praised for over-the-top action, only 5 gunshots occur throughout the entire film. None of them from Tom Cruise.
Oh, that's true.
I don't think does he ever hold a gun?
Yeah, when he gets... Well, I guess... When he gets back to the safe house.
Oh, yeah.
But he doesn't use it.
Emilio Estevez appeared in a fairly lengthy, uncredited role in the beginning of this movie. He even has quite a few memorable lines of dialogue. He plays the guy who dies in the elevator. I think. Tom Cruise had previously made a similarly uncredited cameo in Estevez's earlier movie, Young Guns from 1988. Saul, we have missed a Tom Cruise film. Kind of. He appears for like 2 frames at most, and you can't really tell it's him, but we still missed one.
Damn.
We can't let anyone know about this. we gotta keep this secret as the forebearers of the Tom Cruise podcast world. Also, I looked up the movie. Doesn't seem very good.
What's
it's
it called?
A weird. It's called Young Guns from 1988. It's this weird sort of western. It's like, I think it seems like it's sort of a ripoff of Magnificent Seven. My final fun fact is that one of the code names on the NOC list is Maverick, which is a reference to Tom Cruise's role in Top Gun, 1986.
I didn't catch that, actually.
Neither did I. All right, you ready to discuss this movie?
Yep.
All right, so it opens up with a man in Kiev. It's like he's watching a snuff film or something. Like, what was going on there?
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's watching this interrogation video that I was really questioning on whether or not he was just watching a movie. It's a very well-filmed interrogation video. But it ends with the interrogator getting in the information that they need, and then the mask is torn off to reveal Tom Cruise as Ethan Hunt.
Dun, dun, dun.
He goes over and wakes up the woman who apparently they pretended to kill or something, and then it cuts to the cool Mission Impossible intro.
Was this intro used in the show?
I don't know, but I feel like it probably was because this feels so much like a television show intro.
Yeah.
After the intro, it's an old man on a plane who is John Phelps from the original show. He is alerted that a traitor in Prague stole a list of secret agent names and needs to, I guess, steal the other half that has the information of the agents' real names that they can use to connect the two and, oust people and get them killed or something. And so he's going through the whole, little whatever he's looking at, digital device, and he's seeing oh yeah, we've already put together a team for you, Phelps. Here's your hot wife who's 33 years old and you're 58.
Yeah. That was
What'd you think about that?
a little creepy, but it's Hollywood.
So it's even more creepy is what you're saying.
Yep.
And as they're going through the list, the final one is on Ethan Hunt, and his code name is Philippe Duchette.
Is that French?
Probably. Also, Ethan is 2 years younger than Tom Cruise. I looked to see if they put the birthday as the same for Tom Cruise. They did not. Then John Phelps is alerted that the tape he just watched is going to self-destruct in the airplane.
I think that's another trope that started with this movie.
Yeah,
it's
that's a big Mission Impossible thing. Is your mission, should you choose to accept it, blah 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 blah. This tape will self-destruct in right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank God that it only just sort of sizzles into smoke, and
Not
he
like an actual
immediately
explosion.
yeah, that's what I thought it was gonna be. And like, it's a good thing people could still smoke on airplanes back then, because he just sort of like lights a cigarette to mask the smoke of this movie disc thing.
Yeah, a little like unnecessary, but it's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the only way they can conceivably get this digital hard drive device to, they couldn't figure out a way for it to self-erase itself. They just let it light itself on fire.
Could have just opened up a window, you know. Sir, no, wait.
What? I just got, my box is smoking. This led me to question whether or not 9/11 happened in the Mission Impossible universe, or if it was stopped by the IMF, which is the secret agency. Do you know what IMF stands for, Saul? Do you want to take a guess on what IMF stands for in this Mission Impossible franchise?
Well, I mean, if you phrase it like that, uh, okay, IMF,
Yeah.
Impossible Mission Faction?
You were close. It's impossible. It's impossible mission force.
Force?
Yeah, I think so.
That's a better name.
This movie sure likes to remind the audience that this man is married to a woman 25 years younger than he is. Like, they bring up the fact that they're married a lot.
Yeah.
What happens after this? I can't really remember, like, when... What happens? Do, like, the team meets up, that's right. They have, like, their little... meeting.
Briefing.
Yeah.
They have a briefing. They're, like, you know, joking about... They're just kind of just bagging on the... What's his name? Jim? Phelps?
Phelps?
Yeah. Saying how, like, he's getting old and just keeps getting cushy jobs.
And they're hanging out in that, like, hotel room or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. And then they just, like, get briefed on their roles and what the plan is and what their mission is. And I think it cuts, like, right to, like, the start of it all.
Yeah, it just immediately cuts to, like, a high-class party, which is
Yeah.
apparently taking place in an embassy.
Yeah.
Did you get embassy from that building?
No, it kind of looked like just a freaking,
Just a mansion?
yeah, a mansion / hotel.
Okay, so Saul, I gotta ask you this. Did you realize that the old man was Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt?
No.
Me neither. It took me so long. I was like, okay, because it's showing, like, the big fancy thing that this film likes to show off is the fact that everybody wears eyeglasses that have little cameras in them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a good amount in this movie which is first person. So I'm like, who the fuck is this person that they're all talking to? And, like, I couldn't figure out who at this party were special agents and who was, like, in on it.
Yeah, me too. That was confusing me too. I was like, okay, so I guess they have other team members there that we don't know about yet.
Yeah. And then when it finally reveals that, like, Tom Cruise is masquerading as some old man, I'm like, I still wasn't sure if it was supposed to be Tom Cruise or not. But, like, looking at it, it looks like him in old man makeup.
Like a Johnny Knoxville and Bad Grandpa.
So yeah, so Tom Cruise and this other woman who's part of the team, I don't, it's not important to learn their names. Ethan sneaks away with this woman and they get into, like, the restricted area of the embassy and they head downstairs to where, like, I guess the data information's kept on one computer or something.
I think her name is Claire.
Oh, was that Claire? Because that's Phelps's wife.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was her?
I think so, yes.
Okay. So Ethan and Claire, they go down to the sub-levels, and they aren't trying to stop the guy from stealing the information. They're trying to get evidence of him stealing the information.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do when they get down there is that Tom Cruise just sets his video recording eyeglasses on, like, a box and sets him in the perfect position to watch the guy do steal the file off of the computer.
Yeah.
And then while they're down there doing this, the guy on the hacker guy of the group is on an elevator chilling out for some reason. Like, why of all places would you stay there? But He's like, "Oh shit, guys! The guy, he's coming. The Mark is coming to steal the files. Blah blah blah. I got to get you out of there."
Part of that scene doesn't make sense to me, like, in a logical way. Because when he's, like, moving, like he loses control of the elevator and he's, like,
Oh yeah,
slowly about to get crushed. I'm like, well, you kind of avoided the elevator previously by just, like, standing on the
laying down
side
or
of me.
getting to the side.
Yeah, so I'm like, couldn't do that again?
No, he was panicked, Saul. He had to stare directly up at his oncoming death. He is a trained agent, and that's what they do. The elevator gets called up, and Ethan and Claire are forced to jump into the shaft and hide beneath the elevator when the bad guy comes down. And they record him stealing the files and putting them on a floppy disk, blah, blah, blah. Do you want to explain what happens next? Do you remember what happens next?
Well, I just remember everyone one by one getting smoked. Dude in the elevator, and then there, I think it's Jim Phelps. Yeah, he like leaves the room, goes like tries to meet up with them. He's on the bridge and he says he's getting followed, and he tells everyone to abort. But
Yeah, and Ethan
Ethan
isn't
doesn't,
having any of that shit.
as the usual, like self egomaniac
Yeah.
character.
Tom Cruise character.
Yeah, he wants to like continue because he sees the dude right there in front of them, so he wants to chase him, but
Yeah, they're still trailing the guy who stole the floppy disk. He and Claire, right? I think.
which
Or
one
was
is
it the other woman?
Sarah?
I thought it was Hannah.
Shit, I thought it was Sarah. Alright, so okay, so I think you're right. I think that was Hannah that was with Ethan
Because Hannah's the
because
one that gets in the car, I think.
oh,
Fuck, I don't.
thought
How many
Claire.
women are on this team? Was it just two?
I think there were two.
So let's see. So my notes are that Jack gets his skull impaled by some sort of weird spike thing. Someone, I think, oh yeah, it's Jim. He gets capped and falls into the river. Ethan keeps telling everybody that they're not going to abort. Okay, yeah, you're right. It was Sarah. I don't know where I got Hannah from.
Maybe there is a Hannah.
Is Hannah or fuck? Who's? God damn, I'm so confused because my next note is that Hannah dies. So one of the women, she keeps trailing the guy with the floppy disk down like this weird foggy by the river road, dark road. One of the other female agents gets in a car and it explodes immediately. Then the thief gets shanked through a gate, and so Sarah, the trained special ops agent,
Yeah, that was
goes up to
dumb.
the gate. Goes up to the gate just nonchalantly and also gets killed.
Yeah, I was like, that's when I started to think that they were all gonna survive. Like, I'm like, okay, so are they all pretending to be like killed?
Like they're all in on it.
Yeah,
So and then the police show up because I guess I don't know what the response time is or if like whoever ambushed them called the police or whatever. But Ethan runs away and he calls into the agency HQ and says that the mission was a total bust. And the guy, I think it's like Kittredge or something like that. He's like, "Don't worry, Ethan. Meet me at this restaurant in Prague in a couple hours, and we'll take care of this."
It's like, why this one particularly? I'm like, well, I like their bagels.
They make fancy little seafood bagels. I don't know how they do it. They cook the fish in the bread, or they cook the bread and then put the fish in. He's like, "Okay, but can we get to the point?" And the guy's just talking about the food he likes at this restaurant.
Like, my entire team just died. I'm like, yeah, we'll get you new ones.
Hold on, Ethan. I'm trying to think of what I want to order. Oh yeah, so Ethan arrives at the restaurant and he's talking to the agent. And then he asks who the other team of IMF agents at the embassy last night were, and it cuts back to all these other people that are there, like blatantly staring at the other agents that we know about.
I wonder if you go back to and like watch those again, if you would notice them being like super obvious about it. Because I sure as fuck didn't.
For a second, there's the scene where I think it's Hannah. She's standing on the stairs, and like later it's revealed that the waiter behind her was a spy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Or was an IMF agent. The first time I watched it, I thought that the camera was focusing on the waiter, so technically I was ahead of the curve.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't notice any of that.
I was just more confused than anything. I was like, who am I supposed to be looking at here? Basically, what this scene boils down to is that the IMF don't trust Ethan and they think he's the mole. And, oh yeah, that's right. He has this little weird gadget that's like a strip of gum, but when you fold it or something and press down on it, it explodes, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ethan gets that out of his pocket and tosses it at this giant fish tank in the restaurant and then escapes. And like there's just so many gallons of water rushing out. Apparently they tried a few takes with a stuntman instead of Tom Cruise, but they were like, this doesn't look right. We need authenticity. We need Tom Cruise to do this, to run out in a couple feet of water. I love how he just busts out into an absolute sprint like through this giant courtyard after that happens.
He's a pretty fast runner.
Yeah, well, as we'll learn in the future Mission Impossible films. So Ethan makes his way back to the apartment where they were all at, which, like, I don't know, wouldn't there be some sort of record that, like, the IMF would know that that's where their agents were staying or something?
I guess since maybe it makes more sense, because if you find out later on, like, who set it all up.
And he starts going on the internet for some reason.
Yeah,
because he learns
every time someone types something into the computer, it's like so, like, what's the word? Just like super cliche. And, like, I'm pretty sure at some point he like types in something.com. I'm like,
oh yeah,
that's not how it works.
Well, he's trying to do research on Job 314, which is apparently what the I don't know, what was that code name for? Was that the secret names of the code names?
I think that was like another mission, but it was also a code for something.
And he also looks up Max, who is the name of the, I guess, the buyer or something of the code names that the mole was going to sell him to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so anyway, Ethan starts looking up Job 314 for some reason. He assumes that this super secret military thing is going to be just on the internet. He looks up max.com, like you said earlier, which I'm surprised wasn't like a porn site. And then he thinks of something. The Bible. Or he finds the Bible. He finds it
it's like
somewhere,
right in front of like his screen.
Apparently it was Jim's, maybe. And it has like a little stamp of this hotel that Jim talked about earlier in the film, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And so he just starts... He seemingly spends all night going to every single available Bible website and messaging Max at Job 314 and like sending coded messages from the Bible. And then he falls asleep.
And he has like a weird dream of Jim resurfacing from the water.
Arisen by the glorious power of Ungi the Dingle Dolphin.
And he's like, why didn't you help me?
But then he wakes up and it's actually Claire.
Mm-hmm. And he like pulls a gun on her.
Yeah. And then he does some pretty thorough frisking and searching there.
Yeah, I didn't like that because it was like obviously for the viewers, but it's like
look how hot this French woman is. Isn't she sexy? And then he like pushes her on the bed for some reason.
I thought you were just gonna start crying.
Yeah, me too. But then Ethan gets a message and it's for an address. Ethan goes there and this car pulls up and all of a sudden, and he gets in and they put a bag on his head and he's taken to Max. But it's not actually Max. It's this woman named Claire. When was it explained that the people who stole the disc, or that Claire and her people have a fake disc? When was that?
The only thing I remember is they said that like when they were briefing on the mission, how the list of the agents is in two parts, with one of them being like the nicknames. So you need both parts to actually have the information.
Yeah, but apparently Claire has a fake disc with like a tracking device in it, and the CIA is on their way. So she and her team escape with Ethan before the CIA raid the place, and in a car, Claire tells him that her deal with Job, because it's the Bible and biblical, not Job, was $6 million. So Ethan demands that they pay him $10 million to deliver the real list and her personal assurance that Job will be at the exchange. Which, like, I don't know, if I was his boss, that would be pretty sure footing that, hey, he's a bad guy and isn't actually trying to help us.
Yeah. But I guess you didn't really have any other option.
So Ethan and Claire prepare in the apartment, and they somehow find a list of disavowed agents, and they get them on their side. The two agents are John Reno and Ving Rhames, who is a hacker, and John Reno is like a psychopathic, knife-wielding crazy man.
Pilot? I think that was his thing, that he's a pilot.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah, because when they like asked them if they wanted it to help, he's like, why don't I fly the helicopter into Fort Knox or something?
Oh, yeah.
Because that would be easier than trying to get into.
Where do they have to go? The Pentagon, I think?
The CIA headquarters? I think.
I guess so. I can't remember. Oh, and then we get the classic going over a heist scene.
Yeah.
I love those. I'm so glad that that's a thing.
Yeah, which is also kind of like a trend that's in spy movies, where it's like they talk about the plan as someone is doing it.
Oh yeah, so the gang, they break into Langley under the guise of firefighters. I guess what is Luther, who's Ving Rhames' character, I guess he did some sort of hacking skills to make a fire alarm go off, maybe? And they stole a fire engine from somewhere and a bunch of firefighter outfits, and they drive up to the CIA headquarters, and then they're running through the halls, and Ethan Hunt, he splits off from the rest of the guys. Who are those other two firefighters, now that I think about it?
The hell?
Who are they?
Maybe they're like real firefighters they found on the fire truck. They didn't know how to make them go away.
So yeah, they sneak through the vents, Ethan and Krieger, who is John Reno's character. And then the whole thing of this scene is that there's like, what is it? It's like a sound monitoring device, I think. So they can't go above like a certain decibel count. So they have to be very quiet. And then this is the famous dissension scene that we were talking about earlier, where Tom Cruise kept putting coins in his shoes. And it was so quiet that I honestly thought that something had happened to my sound.
Me too, actually. Like, did the video freeze or something?
I bet that would have been a pretty cool experience, like watching it in
the theater.
It just fucking becomes dead quiet, and you can hear people eating snacks and the guy in the background getting his dick sucked or something.
I feel like there had to have been someone that's like, hey, what happened to the sound?
I want a refund. There's a specific agent who kind of looks like Ray Romano, who Claire like sticks something onto. It's like a tracking device, I think.
Oh yeah, the dude.
Do they also poison his food?
I didn't see a scene. Maybe I wasn't looking at the time, but I think she may have like put something in his drink, because he just spent like the entire scene just in the bathroom.
Yeah, so the Agent Romano, he comes in, starts working at the computer, and then immediately vomits into the trash bin by the side of the desk. And like, he runs into the bathroom across the hall.
Yeah, I feel like that must have been part of the plan, because that bought them a lot of time. So.
So yeah, so Ethan lowers down and he's quietly working on the computer as he's hanging from the ceiling, and Krieger has to hold him up there.
That dude has a lot of strength, because that was a while.
And then a mouse shows up,
and he like it's like inching closely, and so he like, I guess he kills it somehow.
Yeah, like, how does he do that?
I think, I don't know, because like, you hear a noise and then it like pans away, but then it pans back and the mouse is just dead on the floor. But you don't see how. So I think he like probably like snapped his neck, or maybe he crushed it with his head.
Oh God! Or he has a tiny knife in his mouth and he just spit it out into the mouse's neck. Krieger, after that happens, he loses his grip on Ethan, and Ethan drops through the whole floor or the whole room and barely uh, inches away from hitting the floor. But luckily, they stop from him. They stop his fall, and he gets pulled back up. They steal the disc, climb back into the vents, and then Krieger drops his knife into the room.
Yeah, that was. I thought it was gonna be turn into one of those scenes where like they set off an
The
alarm,
alarms
they have to
start
get out in
playing. Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Like, what's the point of the sound thing if that happens?
Oh, that's true.
Just dunk and nothing.
I guess it was quiet. I think
It
it
was a
like
very sharp knife.
yeah, it was super sharp, and then it fell onto like I think it was like a matted surface.
Oh yeah, like corkboard or something.
Yeah,
For the...
for the dude's coffee.
Yeah, and so then the team escape, and the agent walks in and just sees a knife in the desk.
He's just thinking, I am so fired.
Did you hear the scene later after the two agents are talking about it, and they're like, I want him manning a fucking radar dish in Alaska by the end of today.
Yeah, poor dude. I wonder if like after everything was over, if they like apologized to him. It's like
Probably not. They forgot.
they just left him.
Then it's just the team hanging out in London at some apartment, and we get that little magic trick scene for some reason.
Hmm.
Like, it's cool, but what purpose does that serve, really?
Maybe if it was improv, and they just kept it in because it was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, and so Ethan's flipping through the Bible again, I guess, and he sees something that says the Drake Hotel. Dun dun dun. It has something to do with Phelps, maybe. And then he looks on the TV, and there's a news report of his mother and uncle getting arrested for trafficking drugs.
And so he realizes that that's what's his name? Kitty?
Kitty Pride.
Yeah,
Kittredge.
Kittredge. Yeah, he's trying to bait him into
Either coming out of hiding, I guess.
yeah, or like
or revealing his
communicating with
location,
him. Hmm.
which is exactly what Ethan does.
Only he kind of like does it in the smartest way he can, I guess.
Yeah.
Because so he's on the phone with Kittredge, asking him about like I guess Kittredge is just like asking him to just tell him where he
He's
is,
just like trying to stall him.
trying to stall for time because they're like in the background they're trying to track his location, and they like discover the continent, then like where
They're trying to get
yeah, they're like pinpointing him, and
They're like, he's in London somewhere. Just keep him on the line for a couple more seconds.
mhm. And then like he's watching the clock, and right before like I guess 3 seconds before they could have pinpointed him, he like ends the call, and
Oh, yeah. Did you notice that vagrant man in the phone booth right next to him? Because I did, because he was pretty standout character.
I didn't actually.
Oh, I was like, what is going on with that guy?
Dun dun dun! It's Phelps,
What?
back from the dead.
But he's dead. We saw him die. That's right. Phelps shows up, and then he tells Ethan that Kittredge is the mole.
Yeah, so which I think is the dumbest thing he could have said, because that's like immediately suspicious. Like, how does he know? And so like immediately Ethan Hunt just pieces it together.
Figures everything out.
What a dumbass.
Like, maybe if he had never said that,
What if
Ethan would
he
have
could
still
have
been
just
on
been
his
like,
side or
I
something.
still don't know who the mole is, so we should like band together to like figure it out. Something like that, instead of no, it was definitely Kittredge. Definitely wasn't me. I mean, you know me, I would never do that.
And like Ethan's
so
going over in his mind, like
how he could have like
how all it happened, and
mhm.
like I love that scene of where he realizes what Phelps did on the bridge, and like how long it takes him to fake his own death like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's just staring at the sky for so long.
And then he like dips into the river.
What was that? I assume it was like some sort of like pack of fake blood or something.
Yeah, he like squished something in his hand and it just sprayed
It
him.
looked like he stopped at like a butcher's shop or something and bought like a liver.
I just figured it was ketchup.
Yeah, it was a
Stopped by
tomato.
McDonald's.
And then he's still not sure if Claire was in on it or not, because it could have either gone either way. She could have either blown up the car, or she wasn't in on it. And then Ethan, he acts pretty okay with Phelps being alive. He's like, yeah, okay, let's work together.
Yeah, he handled it pretty well. Like,
Yeah.
I figured he would like immediately like run away or something, make it like super dramatic.
Yeah. But yeah, no, he makes a deal on the TGV train, which is apparently a train that's the train that goes from France to United Kingdom underneath the channel, which is what that tunnel is. But he makes a deal on that train to hand over the what's it called? It's like called like a Nautilus or something.
Knock list, NOC list.
Oh, that makes much more sense.
I had the
I was like,
subtitles on.
I was like, why is it called a Nautilus? That's a fish or some sort of aquatic animal. What does that have to do with anything?
That's also a champion name in League of Legends. Um, I don't know if he's like a human, but it's like a super giant suit of like a what's like a diver, scuba diver
Oh,
art like
yeah.
gear with a giant hook. He's like a tanky dude.
Sounds hot. How much Rule 34 is there of him?
I imagine there is not that much since you never see any like human parts. It's just like I think it's a haunted suit or something.
What?
Like
It's a ghost man?
yeah, something like that.
Anyway. So on board this train is Ethan, Claire,
Max, which is like the lady.
yeah. Who's Claire? Is Claire the name of Claire Phelps? That's his wife, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kittredge and a couple of agents because he got some tickets sent to him from Ethan.
I wish there had been like a little note with a smiley face on it.
How long do you think that took to get to America?
Did he pay for expedited shipping?
He had a lot of stamps. Oh yeah, that's right. Luther's on the train too, and he uses his hacking skills to keep Max from getting the data uploaded to their like hard drive or something.
That was another like super cliche typed. I think it was like send jam signal. Like, okay.
Yeah. And then she's telling the guy with the laptop like, "Well, did you try turning it off and turning it back on?"
Oh yeah, she's like, did you check the batteries? Like, of course I checked the batteries.
Like it wouldn't even be on if I didn't have the battery.
She's like those people that like when parents don't know how to use the internet or when the Wi-Fi is down and they don't know how to like just disconnect the router and connect it again.
Oh yeah, and so then Ethan he's directed to the baggage car because apparently that's where Job is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Okay, Claire, meet me there. I'm still further back in the train. I'll meet you in the baggage car." And who's waiting in the baggage car for her, Saul?
Well, it is Phelps.
Her 20-something-year-old older husband.
Mm-hmm. Might as well be her.
Might as well be your dad. Is that what you were gonna say?
Yeah.
And what does she do? I can't.
She's like, you don't have to kill Ethan. You can just put the blame on him, and we can take the money and go.
Oh yeah. And he's just standing there silently looking at her. And then what happens?
Dun dun dun. A mask is removed, and it turns out that Phelps is Ethan Hunt.
Oh my god, he sure got her. But oh hey, then the real Phelps shows up. And he's wearing like weird motorcycle / bondage gear or something.
Yeah. That was kind of out of nowhere. I guess it was like to differentiate him from
Yeah.
Ethan.
I guess it's
Did Ethan not check? Like
yeah, like he didn't check the baggage car for anyone else.
that's pretty funny. Or maybe he was just like hiding in the corner, like just in the ball. the whole time.
He's wearing all black. He's just hiding in the shadows, balled up.
He's just like closing his eyes, like, oh, I hope he doesn't notice me.
I hope he thinks I'm baggage. And Ethan explains how he figured out Phelps was the bad guy, and Phelps is like, oh god, the Bible, they stamped it, didn't they? Those damn Gideons.
Oh yeah.
And then, fucking, Phelps says that thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife?
Yeah, I didn't get that.
I don't know. Was Ethan into Claire? Is that what we're trying to establish here? Or at least Phelps or Claire was into Ethan? Maybe, like, or he thought so because she didn't want to kill him?
Yeah, I guess that's... Yeah, I didn't get that, so...
Yeah, anyway, he's about to kill Ethan. But then Ethan puts on his eyeglasses, which, like, that should be an immediate giveaway that something's up here. Then, like, you should get rid of this risk.
Yeah,
but
like...
Phelps lets him do it.
It was pretty obvious what he was doing, so I'm like, why don't you just shoot him? Like...
He gave you 2 targets of his eyes with those glasses. So yeah, and then he sends the image, the live feed of Phelps to Kittredge, who also sees it, and he's like, well, hello there, Mr. Phelps. And then we never see him again in the film.
Nope.
Claire asks Jim not to shoot Ethan, so he shoots her. Pretty cold-heartedly, too.
Yeah, he doesn't even, like, second-guess himself.
Yeah, he doesn't even say, like, I'm sorry, dear.
He's like, oh, should not have talked back to me, dear.
How does he escape? How do they get outside the train? I think I missed that.
He just walks away. He shoots Claire. Yeah, he shoots Claire, then he, like beats up Ethan somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he's an old man. Which, again, like, he has so many chances to just kill him right there. Like,
I know.
He already shot Claire. Like,
there's only one bullet in that gun.
That's what I thought too. Like, I guess maybe there's like one bullet in there. He didn't think he would even have to use it, so he's like, I'll just...
He was hoping that they'd be lined up.
For the double kill.
Oh, yeah, so Phelps, he just climbs on the train nonchalantly, and Ethan follows him, I guess. And Krieger's flying after the train in a helicopter, because Krieger, again, is the assassin. He's been working with Phelps that whole time. Good thing, or I was going to say it's a good thing that Ethan chose Krieger out of that whole list, but I'm sure Claire probably told him to.
Yeah, I think she probably chose both of them.
He's like, this is a woman's work. Now I need to get back to emailing every single Bible site I can find.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, there's a cool train fight. As Phelps is about to, like, hook himself onto the helicopter and get flown away, Ethan lets go of the train, flies back, and knocks Phelps over, and then grabs back onto the train. And then he attaches the cable that is attached to Krieger's helicopter onto the train, so he's stuck to that train forever.
That was kind of cool.
No possible way.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, that's cool, but like, from this moment on, I'm like, how plausible is all of this? Especially like the very next thing where it's like they're like struggling to like get Ethan off of them, but then they're like about to go into the tunnel, so he kind of like lowers the helicopter.
Through the tunnel.
Yeah, he flies into the tunnel. I'm like, how is this even possible at this point?
Apparently, in 2006 or 2007, I think it was like a Brazilian helicopter did the same thing. Like, they flew a helicopter through a tunnel.
Damn.
Just because, I guess.
They were bored.
Yeah. So they're fighting on top of the train. Or no, this is still when Ethan's hanging on the side, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Krieger's flying the helicopter through the tunnel. Ethan is hanging on the side of the train as Phelps, like, I don't know, what is his plan now to escape?
Like I said, should have just fucking killed Ethan and went on his way. There would have been no problems after that. So, yep.
He's leaving, he's getting up in He wakes up in the morning, he's putting on his motorcycle gear, and he leaves the house, and he's already like a couple miles away from home. He's boarding the train. He's like, did I remember to put more than one bullet in this gun?
He's like, yeah, I'm sure I won't need it.
Yeah, this will go swimmingly. Then Ethan leaps up onto the... Oh, that's right. So fucking Phelps, he hops onto the helicopter for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
He's holding on to the little landing skids on the bottom, and Ethan does the same thing on the opposite side and holds one of those sticks of explosive gum in his hand and says, "Red light, green light."
Yeah, it was kind of...
Was that a callback?
Yeah, that's like how whoever... I forgot who... I think it was...
Jack, I think?
Yeah, I think it was him that gave him the gum in the first place, but he... Like, that's how he explained it. Red light, green light.
Oh.
Even though I still don't know how that, pertains to...
The scene. I don't think Phelps even heard that conversation.
Yeah, so it's like... You probably just confused him, like, okay.
He says it in such a weird accent, too. But yeah, Ethan attaches the exploding gum to the helicopter, and it explodes, and Phelps is crushed beneath the landing skids and then gets blown to smithereens.
Do you think he lived?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, he survived, like, shooting himself and and throwing himself into a river.
That's what he did. He got the wrong gun or something.
He was supposed to use like a fake gun, but he's like, "Oh shit, this one was loaded. My bad."
It's like, I guess I don't need this ketchup anymore. But yeah, in the explosion, Ethan is luckily launched back onto the train as it comes to a halt because one of the conductors is like, "There's a helicopter in the tunnel."
Even though, like, previously he said to go faster because he doesn't want the helicopter to crash.
He's like, "No, wait, the good guys won. It's okay to stop." Maybe Kittredge ordered him to stop, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I like how he faints right away.
That's right. Yeah, so the helicopter, it comes crashing towards them and narrowly stops before it beheads Ethan. And then Max and her associates basically get off scot-free because they say that they'll sell out some other people to the agency, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And Ethan's parents are freed, and then he and Luther go back to the IMF. Or, well, at least Luther does. He gets asked to come back to the organization. Ethan, though, he's still unsure. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He's going to head home and think about this a little bit. And then immediately on the flight back to America, the stewardess comes up and asks if he'd like to watch a movie. And he's like, no, thank you. And she's like, "Are you sure?"
This is a mission, dumbass.
And he's given a tape anyway. And he starts playing that, and then it cuts to credits. But I have to ask, what if that was just like a tourist video or something? Yeah, and that's the end. Do you have any afterthoughts about this movie?
I mean, all in all, I thought it was pretty solid. Like,
Yeah, me too.
there's nothing I felt was missing.
Yeah, it was a pretty concise story. It came up wrapped in a nice little bow, no hanging threads or anything like that.
Yeah, and like it leaves it pretty open for like sequels because, there's more missions.
Mm-hmm. There's always going to be another mission. At least 7 more.
Kind of feel bad for Ethan though. Like he probably just wants to like go home, rest for a bit, knowing that several of his comrades are dead and the one he looked up to was a traitor.
And he was accused of being a traitor by the organization.
Mm-hmm.
They were pretty dead set sure that he was the guy too.
Yeah, they were ready to kill him.
You want to move on to the rating?
Mm-hmm.
So here at the Cruising Altitude podcast, we have a very special rating system. It is out of a possible 21 teeth, because at any given moment when Tom Cruise gives a pretty little smile, he will show about 21 teeth. Saul, do you want to go ahead and think of your rating, or do you have it already? Do you need to do some math?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
Okay. So let me read off some of the other listings I got. IMDb rates this at 7.1 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 64%,
What?
which I feel is pretty low. Yeah, I know. Metascore is 59%, which is the same percentage as Interview with the Vampire, which again I feel is pretty low for a pretty good movie.
Yeah, probably a bunch of critics. You know how they are. Everyone's a critic.
And Roger Ebert gave it a 3 out of 4 stars. Saul, speaking of everybody being a critics, what would you rate this movie out of 21 Possible Teeth?
19. Pristine pearly whites.
Oh my. Good lord and mama. I give this film 18 out of 21 Possible Teeth. Those are just normal, completely normal, not kicked out teeth or anything. just normal teeth. Just 18 teeth. I thought it was a pretty good film. I don't know how much I'd like to rewatch this.
Yeah, like I wouldn't.
Now that I know the twist and everything.
I think there's some replayability in that, like maybe trying to watch the first scene again to see if you could notice that people are being like suspicious.
Yeah. And seeing like how obvious it is that Phelps is the villain.
Yeah. The one time I was suspicious was when he said he was being followed on the bridge. But like, I was like looking at the bike like there's no one there, you little liar.
Also, I thought for a second that Claire shot him because she said that she was also at the bridge, I think. Like later in the film. So I was like, is she the villain? This is a good movie all around. It's a very solid flick.
Yeah.
Apparently the second one is terrible.
Oh no. Is Cruz still in it?
Yeah, he's in all of them.
Oh, okay.
And it's the same team. Like Ving Rhames comes back, Tom Cruise. They're the only ones who survived this movie. They're in all the Mission Impossible films, so you can look forward to that.
Oh,
Simon Pegg comes on as one of the characters of the cruise. I don't know which movie he's in, but he sticks around for quite a while. I don't know who else. I think it might be a little more of a rotating cast outside of them in the next Mission Impossible films. But here are some kidsreviewmovies.com that if you remember these.
Yeah.
This is my new thing. An adult review says, good and lots of boring moments, and I loved it. Plenty of sci-fi action and mild language. Also, there is a mild naked scene in the shower. Wait.
I don't remember that. Was there a shower scene?
I don't remember. Oh, wait. Is there? I don't know.
If it was one with Tom Cruise, I think I definitely would have remembered that.
Yeah, me too. I don't know. Poorly made, poorly spelled incorrectly, and lots of swear words. Yeah, so that's really about it. The other person said that they loved it. It was pretty well put together. Not. Get it? Get that? Saul, they nodded you. Yeah, pretty dumb review. An 11-year-old said that it's a horror movie. And then that's what the title of the review says. The actual review says that this is not Mission Impossible. This is a stupid waste of time.
Damn. Probably
no.
Like an old fan that didn't like the direction
fan of
they
the
took.
original.
Yeah.
That 11-year-old. So Saul, you want to get to the ranking of this movie along with all the others?
Sure.
So Saul, where would you rank Mission Impossible among all the other Tom Cruise films that we've watched? This is our 18th so far. Is it better than Born on the 4th of July?
Performance-wise, I don't think I would put it above it.
Rain Man's a good movie, but I hate Tom Cruise's character in it. He's such a dickhead.
Yeah, that was my exact reason that I was gonna say. I would put it above it, to be honest.
Is this gonna be our new number 2?
I would say so. I mean,
2. I think that works. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it.
2.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it above Born on the 4th because I think that was like one of his best like acting performances. Just like how.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, he was amazing in Born on the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know, I don't think can't really think of any other films where he gets that level of just character work in, because it's usually either insane people or action stars is who he plays.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like the only thing I can remember other than that is like Taps, but that one's just like super crazy. And then The Firm, I would say that one's pretty good too.
I was thinking The Firm too.
Yeah, because
that's sort of outside of his normal. I never realized it until we started this podcast just how much Tom Cruise has gotten typecasted.
Yeah, just as like a young cocky dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a prodigy, but also like too into himself. And also lazy and doesn't listen to authority.
Mm-hmm. But he still wins every single time.
Yeah, so that's like, let's say, Mission Impossible, Cocktail,
Top Gun,
Days of Thunder, All the Right Moves,
I was gonna say,
The Outsiders,
Top Gun with cars,
The Firm,
A Few Good Men,
Taps, technically, for like a few minutes.
Far and Away. Yeah. So, our current list is as follows. Number 1, Born on the 4th of July. Number 2, Mission Impossible. Number 3, Rain Man. Number 4, Interview with the Vampire Chronicles. Number 5, Risky Business. 6, A Few Good Men. 7, Taps. 8, Endless Love. 9, The Firm. Number 10 is good old Top Gun. Followed by 11, The Outsiders. 12, All the Right Moves. Number 13, Legend, which I kind of want to go back and rewatch. Number 14 is Days of Thunder. Number 15, Far and Away. 16, Cocktail. 17, Color of Money. And as usual, at the bottom of this disgusting barrel is Losing It.
Catchy song, and that's the only compliment I can give that movie.
I was singing that song like last week to myself while I was like cleaning my bedroom. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, there's just one more segment left, which is Tom Cruise news. This isn't specifically about Tom Cruise as much as it is Tom Cruise related, but it is. Here's the headline. Christopher McQuarrie responds to Mission Impossible 7 bridge destruction reports. Empire exclusive. By Ben Travis. Ahem. In recent days, reports emerged around a proposed sequence from Mission Impossible 7 set in Poland, and including the destruction of a century-plus-old Polish bridge, a notion which proved controversial. In a statement released to Empire, Christopher McQuarrie writes to set the record straight, commenting on reported inaccuracies and placing the proposed sequence and the partial bridge destruction in more complete context. Let's see. Oh yeah, so this is what he writes. Mission Impossible has come to be known as a franchise that does as much as humanly possible without the use of digital effects, which allows us to create moments in ways audiences have never seen before. At the very start of the film's pre-production, we had a rough concept for a sequence involving a bridge over a body of water, ideally one that could be, spoiler alert, partially destroyed. While we doubted such a thing would be possible, a broad search was initiated in the unlikely event that any country anywhere in the world might have a bridge that needed to get rid of. They just happened to know of a non-functioning railroad bridge in an area that suited our purposes, and better yet, the area in question was eager to promote tourism. Local roads being what they were, or what they are, their best chance to do this rested in revitalizing an outdated rail system. This included replacing the main decking of the bridge in question, which engineers had deemed structurally unsound. The bridge was not built entirely in 1906, as had been reported. That bridge was partially destroyed by the retreating Germans during the Second World War before being rebuilt. The current bridge is, in fact, one of two very similar ones in the area, neither of which is a protected monument. Bottom line, to open up the area to tourism, the bridge needed to go. And we were only too happy to help out. The people we spoke to were excited by the prospect of bringing a large film production to Poland and the resources it would inject into the local economy. They were also delighted that we'd be making way for a new bridge that might otherwise not be built, and might lead the government to revitalize the railroad line. One individual, for reasons I cannot specify without revealing their identity, claimed that they were owed a job on the production for which they felt they were not adequately qualified. When this individual's demands were not met, they retaliated. After harassing members of our production publicly and anonymously on social media, as well as privately, this individual misrepresented our intentions and concealed their personal reasons for wanting to penalize us. They even tried to have this condemned, unsafe, and unusable bridge landmarked in hopes of preventing it from ever being removed and rebuilt, which we understand would be to the detriment of the area's economic needs. Then they reached out to us to gloat about it. In short, this individual manipulated the emotional response of the people in the movie, it manipulated the emotional response of people in a move that has now compromised our ambitions to bring our production to Poland. Of course, we're happy to get rid of any condemned bridges that might be lying around. Waste not, want not, after all. On behalf of everyone working on Mission Impossible, I wish you all a safe and healthy future in these frightfully uncertain times. Sincerely, Christopher McQuarrie.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so all of this was basically... Yeah, there's a 111-year-old bridge. Yeah. It all started over a big lie that someone did because they were upset that they didn't get a job or something on the movie, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not too much Tom Cruise news. Other than, hey Saul, you know what this is? This is a Cruising Altitude podcast exclusive that there will be a partial bridge destruction in Mission Impossible 7.
I'll look forward to that. Wonder if I'll remember. Like if it happens, I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's in Poland. But yeah, that leads us to the very end of the podcast. Find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, PodBean, at the Cruising Altitude Podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Cruising Podcast. Follow me on Twitter at Smokey's Videos. And of course, follow Tom Cruise at Tom Cruise. Follow Saul on Instagram at diosama_art. That's DIO_SAMA_art for all of his various memes and whatnots.
Mm-hmm.
And join us again next month for Jerry Maguire, 1996. Saul, are you ready to do the Cruising Altitude podcast famous sign-off?
Yep.
Would you like to start it off as per usual?
Sure. This
mission
should
not
be
completely
televised
to
my
children.
That's a pretty coherent thought. All right.
Yeah, we're getting better at this.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
All right. So
this
mission.
Fuck. All right.
One, two, three.
This mission
should
not be televised
to
my children.
Yeah.
We did it.
I think that's what it was. I always forget it, like the second we say it.
Oh, man. So, yeah, that's what we always say on the end of the Cruising Altitude podcast. We'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye.